In the criminal justice system, the people are represented by two separate yet equally important groups: the police who investigate crime and the district attorneys who prosecute the offenders. These are their stories.
The naysayers in our audience really need to maybe take a step back and look outside of themselves and how they feel. Think about how the mass majority, the macro audience thinks about this, not just you. Because this, I think, is the biggest problem we've got in Star Citizen, especially the community. It's not always about you, it's about what's beneficial for the macro audience. Right, the micro audience, you know, the Scythians, the cultists, now the trolls these days, instead of all of those others because we got them shut down. Most of you trolls are young kids. You do not have any clue of what you're talking about. Do understand that the new YouTube rules this year and the algorithm this year are very, very, very tough. You will lose your account. So if you're going to muck around in our comments section, well, you're going to probably get reported and you're going to probably lose your account, guys, for real. I've counted 29 accounts we've shut down on this channel so far this year. 29, guys. And it's all from your own behaviour. All I've done is just silently report most of them. I've been respectful to a few people of recent to say you've been given a warning and this is your final warning and then reported. But that's the thing, we're giving you guys a bit of rope to work with on the channel, but this is a safe place for people to come, converse, discuss, debate, and be critiquing and have heated discussions with, respectfully, professionally, ethically, politely. You don't have to name call and stuff like that. And if you say to me, oh, you should take your own medicine, and look at how hypocritical you're being, how about you do that first? You be disrespectful to me, I will eat you alive. I'll be disrespectful to you, there's going to be a very, very good reason for it. A bloody good reason for it. I'm a really nice person usually, but you flick my fuckwit switch and then it's on, alright? Don't muck around on this channel. We are here to create a professional safe space for professional people to discuss this in a professional way. If you're not that target audience, please do not watch our videos in future. ILW, over to you.
Hello YouTube, welcome back to another Star Citizen Tech Talk episode. So, we're going to jump right into it today. I disagree with CTT here on 3 points, which we're going to cover in today. On all 3 points, I disagree. The first one is forklifts. The second one is lawsuits. That's going to be the big meat of the episode, where we discuss the class action lawsuit that so many backers taught, and they say, we're going to do a class action lawsuit against CIG. We're going to take him down. I'm going to say it's impossible to do. He's going to say it's possible to do. He's going to give his points. I'm going to give my counterpoints. And the last point that I disagree with is the mathematics of how they've named the patches. 3.9, 3.10. He thinks it's nonsense. I don't. He's going to give his point. I'm going to give mine. But he's going to go ahead and take us in right now to the forklifts. So go ahead, CTT.
All right, guys. So let's just transition here, because the more we talk in here, the less time you guys have to look at forklifts. All right, guys. So just to start with, okay, we had some commenters in the previous couple of videos in relation to the forklift that I brought up into context of conversation. In a nutshell, guys, yes, it is a CIG asset, 100% owned now. This started off as a freelance art station employees, freelancers, whatever they do in the art world for 3D modeling. That was that person's work, and that person had created the 3D CAD design for the model, and then obviously had then sold that to CIG for CIG to take over 100% IP, as well as obviously rights to colour and, change in whichever way they want. So these guys were saying to me, this guy made it and he works for CIG at the time, and CIG commissioned the work from within CIG, and it was a CIG staff member that made it. And no, it wasn't. So just to clarify, he wasn't working for CIG at the time. He was a freelance artist. Now, I've got proof, facts and evidence of that, guys, and it's all thanks to LinkedIn. Thank you, LinkedIn. You're not a sponsor, but I wish you were. Okay, so guys, moving forward from the actual forklift picture itself, it has been put up by Jolis Obolite, who is obviously French or Italiano, but not the person who actually created it. It was this guy. So this guy, Sheng Lam, created this concept. Now, he was a freelancer for ArtStation at the time. His resume shows this. And what it was is all he did, though, and this is where things get a little bit confusing, a little bit murky, because it says here, one of the assets I worked on for the 3.3 patch of Star Citizen as part of the progress team, I was responsible for base mesh, which is putting a skin, like a primer, on the actual model, rear add-ons, as well as final UV and materials, which is paints, weathering, the lighting, as well as initial detail pass unwraps done by somebody else. So all of the last bits, all the finishing touches, all the polish was done by somebody else. All he did was a tiny bit of the work. He basically skinned it with paint, with a primer, which is the meshing. He's then painted it generally. He's added the lighting in, and then somebody else has gone and polished it and added the weathering and added all of that depth of detail. Things like this, scratching on the front yellow bar there, etc. He's only done a little tiny bit of it because he was a junior. So why I know he's a junior? Because look, he went to school just before he got his job at Cloud Imperium. But prior to that, from 2017 to present, he has remained from what we can see, a freelancer. So he has contracted as a casual to CIG and continues to work for some pretty good companies, including Bad Robot Games, which is quite impressive. But that's the thing, right? Cartoon Network, Infinity Train, it's a kids show, I think. Little Mountain Animation, they do more of your cartoonistic kind of fun educational videos. Probable Monsters, I'm not too sure, guys, if you know about that one or not. But look, Cloud Imperium is one station on the train tracks he's been on. They're not putting him on full time. He's just a contractor, and he's now still a freelancer doing other projects with other companies. And he's only got a very, very short educational history as well. He's not some big experienced, veteran dev who's been in the industry for 30 years. He's a young fellow in his 20s who's just getting started out in life. And look, even his references, his endorsements are very minimalistic. And if you looked at my LinkedIn, you'd see obviously a massive difference because of my age. He's got interests in, obviously, tech. So guys, he's not what you said he was. He is a junior. He is a contractor for CIG, and he has only done a small amount of work with them, including making a forklift. He's since moved on elsewhere. So guys, I'm glad we can clear that up, because you guys gave us a lot of hell for it, and I thought, well, that's a bit unfair and very unreasonable over a forklift in grey box. Yeah? So hopefully that clarifies it up. We weren't wrong. We were just not as right as we should have been. Yeah? Would you agree with that, ILW?
No, I disagree completely. So...
because he has to, that's right. Yeah, all right, so I'll minimize this.
No, bring the thing back up. So bring LinkedIn back up. Let's see LinkedIn full screen. He worked for CIG during the last 3 years. He started as a junior concept artist, and it says that in his resume, and he moved to a full-time concept artist. His kind of resume, his skills, kind of his past credentials doesn't really matter because it's concept art, and he's a very, very skilled concept artist. And if you actually look at his art station, all the things done by him, his concept art, it's more than a forklift. Okay, so yes, he did all these other things for the people as freelancers. At his house, he got home at 5 p.m., and that's when he did all his freelance work. His 9 to 5 was going to the offices at CIG, making his concept art, and then when he got home, he did freelance artists on the side. There's no law that says you can't do freelance artwork if when you're employed in for time. He's allowed to take on other jobs at his house. All kind of people do that all the time and all throughout all the different businesses. So I'm saying that he made the base mesh, meaning he modeled the thing, and he used his skills to model and all this, and the other people put the stuff on. But even if he did it, he still did the concept art because he's a concept artist. It says, his job was like junior concept artist, moved up to just concept artist. He was promoted. So look at the time that the forklift was made, and you'll see that the forklift was made 7 months ago because he stopped working at CIG from his resume in February 2020. He was working at CIG at that time. So he was working at CIG at that time. His artwork wasn't done in a freelance capacity where they say, we're going to hire you and you're going to give us the rights to it and we'll pay for this much for this concept art. He was in the office. It said he worked at Foundry 42. He was at Foundry 42 on the computers doing their concept art, and then when he went home, he took on additional projects. That's what I think what happened. I think if you looked into his LinkedIn, if you looked into his resume and the times that he's posted things, I think the record will show that. Go ahead, CTP.
All right, fair enough. Good argument, but problem is 2015 and 2017 to then become a junior concept artist in 2017. He literally walked out of college into CIG's office as a very lowly paid junior. He then spent another year there and now is a concept artist. So he's gone through probation of a year and now he has become a standard contract employee, casual basis, maybe 2 to 3 days a week, if that, and paid a very minimalistic wage. And that's one other thing, guys. You guys are saying that CIG pay above industry rate. No, they do not. Whoever told you that is taking you down a little teddy bear's picnic pathway, guys. You show me proof of that, and I'll believe you. They pay terribly. They pay as badly as Activision do. Look, guys, my whole thing was, okay, so I just wanted to clear this up. He is a freelance concept artist. He is contracted at CIG to do some work for them. He went from being a junior straight out, like all of the other staff at CIG, straight out of school, and world building art design, which is Certificate 1, Certificate 2. Colour and light in Certificate 1, Industrial Design Certificate 1. He's not a degree qualified dev. He's an artist, and this is good enough to get him, entertainment design. It's enough to get him a job, but it does not make him a degree qualified graphic artist, like a 3D modeler, professional, have your own business, be degree qualified in relation to CAD and all that kind of thing. And that's the big difference, guys. He's qualified enough to get a job at CIG, but not qualified enough to lead at CIG. He's not a fully fledged professional experienced guy. He's a young fellow starting out. He started as a junior. Now he's just a standard concept artist. He's not a dev, guys. He doesn't code. He just draws pretty pictures, and then those pretty pictures get catted up by someone else. Maybe him now, because he's a concept artist, but I'd say not. We have shown video in past where the concept artists do their thing with the clothing, the outfits, remember at ILW? And that's what they do. They don't do anything else, and they don't work at CIG full-time. He works there 2 days a week, that guy. Yeah, and there's a team that rotates shifts. So, to just kind of sum it up, here's what he's saying. I'm thinking that he's saying what he's saying versus what I'm saying. He's saying that he was hired by CG in a contractor capacity, meaning that he didn't actually work for CIG, but he worked as a contractor for them, hired. And that time that he was there, he was as a contractor. And that time where he was, the reason that CIG is in his freelance artist kind of resume is because he worked for a multitude of people. CIG was his main contract. I'm saying he worked directly for CIG. He wore CIG uniforms. He worked in a full-time capacity there, and while he was home, he worked on other projects. He took other commissions
He marketed himself, took other commissions, and that's where his other work history comes in. That's what I'm saying. But if I kind of think that's what he's saying. He's saying he worked as a contractor. I'm saying he worked directly for FCIG. He was a junior concept artist. He went through their offices. That's what he did. And then he moved up to a concept artist because he started as a junior because he didn't have any experience in concept art. He was a good artist, but he didn't know the business. He didn't know how to do it. For real, for a company, that was his first company. But there we go. He kind of got his skills. Then he started doing freelance work. If you don't have nothing else to say, I want to go into the lawsuit. If you don't mind, I'll lead the way in the lawsuit. If you have nothing else to say, go ahead, CPP.
Yeah, it's on the screen. My case, proof, facts, evidence. There you go.
Scroll down.
Scroll down. Yeah, clients, self-employed.
No, scroll down.
He's a concept
2
artist.
years, 4 months at CIG.
Yeah, okay.
Started in 2017.
Straight out of school, junior concept artist, and in the meantime, still a freelance concept artist, self-employed from May 2017 to present, 3 years and 1 month, and his position on LinkedIn. If you do not use LinkedIn and you're a youngster, this is how the professional business people advertise themselves, their skill sets, their resume, their qualifications, and it helps other professionals either connect with them to discuss things, get questions or answers, as well as obviously join into conferences and things like that. So for your older people in the audience, you know what I'm talking about here. Shang Lam, freelance concept artist, freelance. It's in the name. Self-employed, that's it. Not CIG, direct staff, 100% full-time employed, but a contractor. All right, guys.
That's because CIG ends in February of 2020. So he's not going to say he still works at CIG almost 4 months later, because he quit CIG in 2020. It says it on February 2000. It says it right there. So, if you market yourself, if you go to work and you work full time as a school teacher, but on this when you're not working as a school teacher, you do a pressure washing business. On your LinkedIn, it's going to say pressure washing business, self-employed as a pressure washer. It's going to say that so you can get freelance contracts as your side job. That's my defense. That's my whole thing. So,
Fair enough.
If there's nothing else, are you ready for me to go to the lawsuit?
Yes, sir, I am.
All right. So I'm going to take it away. Okay. So here's what he's saying. A lot of the backers are saying we've been scammed. I've used the word scammed just in the last video, but here's the context of it. They're saying we've been scammed. They've lied to us. They've cheated us to such a degree. The lies have been so next level, the deception so next level, the money embezzled, the backer money bought private mansions with, all the money mishandled, the game mishandled, the debt, the main backer and his wife both incompetent, both removed from the project. This is what he's saying, and he's saying because of all of this, we will hire a lawyer. And us backers, we're going to put in a lawyer, and we're going to file a class action lawsuit against CIG. We're going to put the full force of the law. We have 2 million backers. If we get 100,000 backers to donate $10, that's $1 million. We're going to get a good lawyer, and we're going to give it to CIG. Get it to them. This is what you get, you scum. Your time has come. That's what they're saying. And I'm saying that CIG's defense will prove that they've taken the backer money. Here's the motion capture we've done with it. Here's the CGI we've done with it. Here's all the progress we're going with it. What are you guys talking about? This is a work in progress. Here is literally thousands and thousands and thousands of documents of proof just this year that we've generated just this year. That you'll never prove that we were incompetent with backer money. It's unprovable. The prosecution, who's going to prosecute CIG in civil court, cannot win. The evidence that nothing was mishandled is just too strong. They're going to be able to provide too much evidence, and the class action lawsuit that people are going to bring together, they're not going to be able to win. The evidence for CIG that the progress is ongoing. Here's the proof of the progress. Here's the proof of the project. Here's our financials. here how we didn't embezzle, and here how everything's up on the up and up. Get the fuck out of here, the prosecution. You have no case. Throw it out. And he's going to say something different. Go ahead, CTT.
Okay, so in 2017, Crytek pulled up CIG for multiple minor breaches of exclusive contract that they had with Chris Roberts and CIG. So the only way CIG could get a game engine on board after 40 or 50 different banks said no. They had one bank in the UK that went, okay, we need security. We need assurances. We need contracts signed of an exclusive nature. This did happen, by the way. Do your research yourself. Don't just go off at us in the comments. This actually happened, guys. And this happened in 2012, just after Chris Roberts had his Forbes internet meeting, if you remember that one. He's doing this one and all the way through it. If you don't, it's back quite a few episodes back now. But guys, look, at the end of the day, this happened. So the bank went, okay, we need security from you. We need assurances. We need signed exclusive contracts to say you are working with a specific game engine to create a specific product. Chris did that. Crytek. So Crytek had put Chris under a very old school exclusive contract because of his history, questionable history, and Crytek wanted to ensure that they could keep Chris on task, keeping in their engine, and make sure that he was actually using their exclusive assets, their assets that they provided him only. Now, we've just met Mr. Sheng Lam, who isn't inside that scope of Crytek engine, CryEngine, for its assets. He is a freelancer. And this was one of many situations where freelancers have been contracted by CIG that had already provided concept art to them or sold to them, whether they owned the rights or not. And this is where the murky, muddy waters start to get mixed up. So far, everyone's like, oh yeah, CIG have done the right thing all along. Look, the Crytek lawsuit got shut down. They settled out of court because, well, this is going to happen along. ILW just said why. Because at the end of the day, guys, smoke and mirrors, and a lot more smoke and mirrors up your butt. Okay? Guys, we have been lied to consistently. We have had promises broken at literally every turn. The roadmap is the next big excuse for a comedy show. At the end of the day, guys, nothing we have been told to date is reality. It is La La Land, Head in the Clouds, Cloud Imperium games. They're playing games in the clouds. They're pretending that they're the gods, right? They're Thor, the god of thunder. And Chris thinks he's the deity of all deities, and he's been spoken to by God. And he's the chosen one. That's why the cultists that we've shut down have gone. Because Chris Roberts is a delusional sociopath. The man is nuts. Okay, he's Don Quixote in the 21st century. If he was a windmill, I'm sure he'd attack it with a stick. Chris Roberts is nuts. He has a massive history of failure. I've shown you time and again on this channel that other YouTubers also agree with this en masse. Yeah, when we're talking about things like the mathematics element we'll come up to next, it's an en masse issue. It's not a micro issue, it's a macro issue. And the macro issue with this is that Chris went behind Crytek's back and began to do nasty, quiet, contract breaching deals that he knew straight away were unlawful in relation to that contract. To then eventually, get so arrogant and so sure of himself and so over the top because he got all this money. Look, 173 million, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, I can do whatever I want now. I'm king of the world, like in Titanic.
Can I ask a quick question? Okay, quick question. So we all know that against Crytek, CIG actually did provable real wrongdoing. That they could prove, hey, you wronged us. You breached the contract. This is what you did. This is what the contract said. You breached it. Okay? If Crytek can't even win a class action lawsuit, how are you going to prove a backer-led lawsuit of fraud? Because that's what the lawsuit's going to be. It's going to be fraud.
All right.
That's what it's going to be.
I was getting there.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. So and this is the next bit I was going to talk about, is that they went to Lumberyard. Yes, it's based on a CryEngine asset and engine itself and yada, 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 and your arguments can go on for months about it. I don't want to hear that, guys. I want you to just stay on point with me for this, okay? Lumberyard is Lumberyard. It's owned by Amazon. It uses CryEngine assets, but Crytek had sold the rights to them. They own 100% of that IP. Okay? It is a separate product. And this is where the muddy waters start to get worse. Because then in 2016, the bulk of Crytek's allegations stem from the court filings, gaming license agreement signed between Crytek and Star Citizen developers. At no time, sadly, because it was an exclusive contract of agreement, and if you don't know what exclusive contract of agreement is, go to Google and type in exclusive contract, exclusive game contract, exclusive business contract, and read for yourself. It says that you are not able to participate in any activity outside of the agreed activities already agreed to. Which means you can't just go, oh, look, I'm really kind of over our business relationship here, so I'm just going to go over there and chat to Bob, who works at your competing company, or a company that still uses, your same products, but, they're cooler. And that's exactly what Chris did. He wasn't getting on with Crytek itself, the staff there, the managers there, because they were keeping him on task. They were actually overheading him. And that's something that you guys know a million times in past I've said Chris needs. And Chris admitted himself he needed. In past tense. From Freelancer. So it's history repeating itself, guys. History consistently repeats itself anyway. How many world wars have we had? And we still haven't learnt yet. Guys, look, end of the day, Chris is a creature of habit. Chris is delusional. That's been proven. And here he's just like a child gone to play with Bob instead of play with the guys that are keeping him on track. He's teachers as such in school. Now, if Chris is such a wonderful guy and a lovely person and so focused on the development of the game, why did he let his wife spend $42,000 for marketing only on herself? Why did Chris buy a $1.7 million or $1.2 million anything dollar mansion? Let alone have Swiss bank accounts as well as Cayman Islands bank accounts. Oh yeah, not to mention the house, the lovely house on the water that they do own in the Cayman Islands as well. Guys, what you have to take stock of and what you have to really understand is, as ILW said, the smoke and mirrors and the amount of paperwork that they took to court to confound and to mystify defense with, or the prosecution with. It's horrifying how much criminal behavior has gone into putting that stuff together. Yes, work has been done. Yes, I agree. Of course I do. Okay? And I'm not saying work never got done. What I'm saying is this should have ended up with Chris being made a lot more accountable for Squadron 42's development and being released in 2016. That's a breach of contract with us as the actual backers, yeah, as well as a bare minimum viable product. We haven't got that. 2016 was the year. We were going to get Squadron 42, and at the end of the year, in December, was the minimum viable release. 10 star systems and a game that was, yeah, okay. And knowing that there would be consistent developmental updates monthly moving forward. None of that's ever happened. Now, I had someone in the comments this morning, actually, before we started our video today, in the most recent video, saying that, but what is the end of the project? Very valid actual statement. And I went, oh, geez, that's actually a great question. When does development stop? Well, development really never stops in any game. And this is something that CryEngine was hoping to be able to benefit from, especially financially, in the long term. And this is what Chris has done. He's basically cut out the people that were overheading him and making sure work got done, keeping him in line to a contract of law to say, well, you know, just stay in your box, mate. When the time comes, when your contract of agreement finishes after 5 years instead of 3, then we can look at a renewal of contract or a exclusive agreement or a casual agreement where you have the rights to use our engine's assets for the development of your game and you are entitled to move elsewhere. All you have to do is wait 2 more years, guys. 2 years. 2 years out of 9 years that we're at now. This Cloud Imperium Crytek court case should never have gone forward in the first place. Because Chris, it's always Chris at the end and the start of every trouble we have in this game is Chris goddamn bloody Christ Roberts. ILW, over to you. My rant is done.
Okay, so here's the whole thing. Again, going back to the lawsuit. Here's the only lawsuit I foresee even being winnable. And that's for the backers who have supported the project and they'll say, we'll give refunds after, what was it, like 2016, but then they went into the user agreement and they changed the wording to kind of throw that out and say, oh, if you've done this or you've done this, you're not entitled to refunds at all. Because you used to be entitled to a refund at, I think it was like 2016, like if we would go 9 months beyond our release date, you're entitled to a refund. They went and changed all that. The only lawsuit that could even be winnable is you get a freaking lawyer to say, the new end user license agreement is anti-consumer. The people who bought it and who went over that date are entitled to the refund. We don't care what you did after the original thing that they signed, is that they're entitled to it. I could see a lawyer winning on that, but you're not going to be able to prove the magical, the super backer lawsuit where Derek Smart is in one arm and the most detractors are in the other arms. And they bring up a lawsuit for fraud and for corruption and all of that because CIG is going to produce documents that this isn't fraud. They're going to produce evidence that it isn't, and they're just going to overthrow the judge with evidence. They're going to, if they have a jury over there, they're going to rain evidence on the jury that we're making this game and everything is on the up and up. And like here it is raining on them, and the jury is just like this. The proof is just too much in my face, and the people presenting fraud aren't going to have enough proof. So when it comes to end-user license agreement, the people who backed the project back in 2014, 2015, 2016, a lawsuit could be brought there that I think could be winnable because they could say the new one is anti-consumer. Yeah. That needs to be thrown out. Unlawful. They signed that they were liable for refunds. They are. But as far as fraud, no freaking jury, no judge, no one is going to find CIG guilty of fraud when they freaking reign. Because, and this is what I didn't get to say. I wanted to tell you this the whole time. Games that are actually real scams, real fraud Kickstarter scams, the real deal of scams of the game taking in $4 million on Kickstarter and on their website and then delivering basic CryEngine assets, basic game engine assets, bare minimum bones, bare minimum work, they can't even get sued for fraud. They can't even lose lawsuits for fraud. So if the ones that are actual real scams, can't lose fraudulent lawsuits, how do you expect CIG to lose it? Please answer that for my side, the supporters.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's the thing. The whole argument I've got is it's not about fraud of the development, it's fraud of financial value. So DG has spoken about this for a long time. I have as well, and I've been very focused on the financials and the larceny, the laundering, as well as the misappropriation of funds. They're federal offences. And larceny law is larceny law. It covers all of that. Once again, Don't go off in the comments like idiots about this time. It's a fact. Check out your own law in your own country. That law is a worldwide law, and it doesn't change for anybody. Larceny law is larceny law. It comes under the monetary system law, and that's the way it is in the world. So don't think, because I'm in America, it's different, or I'm in Australia, it's different, I'm in the UK, it's different, and I'm in Europe, it's different. No, it's not. It's the same bloody law that we all have to follow worldwide, including China. Okay, that's my argument, is the misappropriation and misuse of funds, and also missing funds that have gone missing. And I don't want to hear in the comments at all from any of you, because your comment will be reported and removed immediately, about whinging about, there was no misappropriation of funds, you're nuts. I don't want to hear any of that crap. Guys, money has gone missing. There has been proof. DG has found it. I have also found separate accounts of it as well. And that's it. The whole argument, ILW, is that the fact that Chris Roberts and Sandy Gardner, as well as Erin, right? Let's look at Erin from day one of the project to 2020 Erin. There are 3 Erins now. There was 1 Erin to start with. Now there's 3 Erins. Okay, so he's not been starving himself through the project so far, has he?
We're getting back into the legal realm again. So I believe that, I'm not 100% sure on this, but I'm like 90% sure that wherever CIG follows their trademark, whatever country they do that in, that's where the lawsuit has to be brought. Yeah. And so if we bring a lawsuit, if a lawsuit is brought against CIG, it's brought into American court. But all of that aside, okay, talking about laundering, talking about stealing, I'm not even sure that Chris Roberts isn't allowed to take as much money in salary as he wants, because he's the majority stakeholder. He's the CEO of the company. So if he says my salary is $2 million, that's just what it is. And that's not against the law. If he says my salary today for 2020 is $10 million. But that's not illegal if he does that.
But can I just quickly interject?
Go ahead.
There's no product. It's a project. You can't pay yourself for unfinished work. It's go get a normal job in an office. Go out into a building work site. You go to work, and are you going to get paid for a quarter of a day's work? No,
but no, that's working for the company. He's the owner of the company.
That doesn't mean he can take money from...
here in America, the owner of the company can take as much money as he wants from the profit that the company makes, and then divvy the money out of what's left to reinvesting in the company, to its employees. Here in America, the smallest amount of money that the company makes goes to the employees. The most goes to the owners, the CEOs, the stakeholders. There is no public shareholders. There is the 6 board members, and they get probably the biggest amount. Chris Roberts himself, the majority owners of the company, he gets the largest amount. He can say, the CEO decrees, the majority stakeholder decrees that my freaking salary is $20 million. That's not illegal if he does that, and then he takes $20 million from the backer funds and freaking buys a mansion with it. That's not illegal either.
But so that's just morally, ethically, and just wrong, because
it is. But we're talking about a lawsuit. We're talking about criminal. Yeah, that's not criminal. Oh, no. That's morally repugnant. That's so a civil suit could come, but he would. That's not criminal though. So we could have a civil suit and say, but the backers aren't actually stakeholders. They're going to say we owe nothing to the backers. Oh. They give the money to us as donations.
By law,
I think it's even in that user license agreement that they call it donations.
F the TOS and F the UER, okay? By law, we are the majority stakeholders because we have financial investment in the project's development. We are the ones who actually have the board answer to us. We are the silent stakeholders. We're the ones that if we take this to a court can go, right, well, we want a refund, or whoever wants to sign that petition, whatever. We want a refund, and we're 1 million people out of the 2 million that want a refund. You put $1 in each to join to petition, so that's $1 million, and then you just go to court, and in the space of about 3 hours, you've solicitors that's representing all of you for your group action or your class action, whatever it is, because of industrial relations law and stuff, and how the case would be, how complicated it is, etc., would go in, talk to the judge would go, yep, okay, give them their money back. If there's so many that are going to complain, well, it's just going to blow up into a big thing on the media, and then we're going to look stupid as the judges. So just clear it, give them the money back, and that's how judges do it. And then Chris then does come under question again for his unethical and also illegal behaviour. You cannot, under consumer law, especially in Australia, refuse to refund for a product that was not as described or was not provided in full, and or is the product's damaged, etc. In this case, the product isn't there even. It is the basis of a product.
Because me and you agree, when it comes to a refund lawsuit, you signed an end user agreement when you signed it that said you're entitled to a refund unless the project is delivered like 9 months after 2016. I don't know exactly what the date is, but it was something very similar to that. Backers like you, backers like myself, who backed at that time, could get a lawyer and win a class action lawsuit. I've already admitted that. We're on the same page. What we're talking about is the big one, the big enchilada, the one for fraud, for embezzlement, for the ones.
Impossible.
I'm saying that one's unwinnable.
Oh, totally.
I'm saying there was no wrongdoing.
No. Well, I'm saying there is a lot of wrongdoing.
They're not. There is wrongdoing. So there's wrongdoing in the Crytek lawsuit, but they got out of that. So what I'm saying is, if any lawsuits are going to be pushed, I'm not for pushing a lawsuit. I'm not for it. But
I'm pushing
in Australia, he can, without a doubt, in the Australian courts, of all the Australians who back CIG wanted to get together and file a class action lawsuit, they could win it for sure. There's no doubt. I have no doubt that they could win the lawsuit in an Australian court. But when the ones Derek Smart talks about, and the guys say, the guy in the comment, I can't wait until we see the lawsuit. I can't wait to hear about it. That lawsuit that Derek Smart and the other detractors and that people talk about, the big fraud, the big enchilada lawsuit, we have to agree, CTT. If you don't agree, that's fine. But I think a lot of people with me agree that lawsuit is unwinnable. If he pays himself $20 million in salary, that's completely legal in the U.S. for him to do that. He's the owner of the company. He can pay himself as much ever he wants. He can pay his board members ever he wants. That's not illegal to do. That's not even against the business law to do, as long as I would have to look at how much profits have to go to development. I don't even know if that is even a regulation. You can put, a charity. Think about charities. How charities aren't sued, where the majority of the money going into the charity actually goes to the owners of the charity, and 1% actually goes to the cause. And that's not illegal. So if that's not illegal, surely this isn't.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to touch on that murky, muddy, sticky, disgusting, filthy, swamp-smelling mess of the legal side of it. I'm just talking about refunding. I'm talking about people having the right to have choice. And by law, you do. And the fact that court actually overturned that $4,236 refund was actually unlawful. He should have then gone through a criminal solicitor instead of just a state solicitor, legal aid. He should have gone through a criminal solicitor, would have been won a day, and if the judge had even done and pulled what he did, got the first time round, again, that judge would then be put into conspiracy to commit larceny or to aid and abet illegal anti-consumer behaviour. So that judge could have actually gotten put in jail. So that's the thing. That judge, I think, someone had some fingers in some pockets. We know Chris has been part of the Russian mob in past, and he's had some dodgy dealing with German bankers. He's not the sweet little Chrissy that everyone thinks he is. He's actually quite a limey second-hand car salesman who has been caught up with the mob most of his life, the Russian mob guys. Now, if you don't know much about the Russian mob, just watch any movie with Russian mobsters in it. Read anything on the internet about Russian mobs. They are scary people, really frightening people, and people that you should never get yourself involved with. Chris is indentured to them for life. So that's the thing, guys. Everything Chris has screwed up in past has been fixed for him, And now this will be fixed for him as well, including judges. But when we're talking about the actual refund lawsuit, that cannot be denied if a majority of people come into as a group to get a solicitor to represent them. That cannot be denied.
Okay, well, so I'll leave it this, and this would be my argument will rest on this topic. I would say that for Australians, the Australians could get together, and because we all know, if you don't know, you need to research Australian consumer law right now. He lives in Australia. Without a doubt, the Australians could get it together if they backed before like 2016, whatever this arbitrary time frame was. And if they got together, they can get together now. And probably that's how pro-consumer the Australian consumer law is they could get together now. They could just back the thing for $1,000, get to and go into the courts and win a refund lawsuit in Australia. But the Americans, definitely not. The other countries, definitely not. They're going to rule in the favor of CIG, and you're going to get nothing. But if you're in Australia, you're good to go. Fraud brought in any country, not good to go. Refunds only in Australia. That's just what it is. That's my opinion. That's my belief. My case rests on this topic.
Agreed.
If you want to go ahead and take us into say anything else, if you want to say anything else, if not, take us into the mathematics.
Yeah,
the 3.9, 3.10, all that. Go ahead.
Sounds like a plan. Yeah, look, guys, if anyone in Australia does want a refund, I can get you onto fair trading and things like that, and they can get you in with a legal aid solicitor for free, and you can get your refund done through ASIC. Okay, moving forward. All right, so this is the part that irks me the most in this whole debate. Now, ILW is going to try to staunchly support this semantic versioning, naming scheme, numbering scheme for industry, where I am going to be representing the macro, the en masse audience, who have never heard what this is. And yeah, but just a bit of a misnomer for the name itself. So just remember, semantic, basic, versioning, keeping it simple. Basic version, 2.0 point, guess what? O. CIG calling it 3.1 when it's 3.9.1. Just saying! Alright, but even though the instructional, the curriculum, the college curriculum is using standardized numerical naming schemes, but the actual semantic versioning is to remove the zero. Anyway, LW, you lead the way with this one, because I've got some shit to say.
So Rick and Bearcat, this is for you, okay? So this is for you. I'm going to go ahead and preface this by saying CIG messed up with their numbering, okay? So 3.9, 3.10, 3.11, 3.12, that is stupid, okay? It's stupid. Y'all should have backed off on your patches and not gone 3.8 and 3.9 where you have to go to 3.10 because you can't go to 4.0 like you want to because you want to save that for something else. They didn't foreplan this. They didn't have any forethought because they thought, oh, after 3.9, we're going to write to 4.0. And they changed their mind at the last second. So now we're going to 3.10, 3.11, 3.12. It's stupid, but it's defensible. They want 4.0 to be the entrance into the pyro system. That's fine. But so they want 4.0 to be the entrance into the pyro system. 3.10 is a logical patch because just because it's 3.1 doesn't make it 3.1. It's 3.10, 3.10, 3.11, 3.12. It's not 3.1.1. We've already had that. It's not 3.1. But just because it says 3.1, there's actually, CTT, a 0 that follows that 1 to make it the number 10, not 1. So that's how I defend it. Go ahead.
How many of you in the world have heard that? Have you ever heard anyone say that to you in your life? Okay, 98% of the world have no idea what semantic versioning is. Okay, we are a consumer base of a digital product. We are not developers. We are not the industry standard side of numbering schemes that suit the industry, right? We are consumers of products. If it is 3.9.10, do it as 3.9.10. Don't do it as 3.1. Because
3.10. It's 3.10. Okay, it's stupid. 3.2 is stupid. It should be 3.9.10.
Right.
And it should be 3.9 point something else.
Right.
But they went 3.10.
Right.
But that still makes sense. It's stupid, but it still makes sense.
But
what do you want, man?
Because people are going, what? 3.10? Why don't you just do like 10.10 or 3.9.10? I believe it should be 3.9.1 because it's an additional revision on 3.9. And then 3.9.2, 3.9.3, and so on in micro hot fixes. And I mentioned this in the last two videos, guys. Hot fixes. They are hot fixes for a patch. So they are incremental, subdivisional hot fixes of the patch itself. They are reiterations of the whole patch. 3.9 is a patch. 3.9.1 is a hot fix incremental update or correction or repair to the patch. Oh, and the truth shall set you free!
Well, dude, come on. They're not talking about 3.9.1. That is an actual thing. They're talking about 3.10 being the next thing where they add the Crusader landing zone. So they got to give it this whole extra number on top of the 3 to keep going. Because they can't go to 4. They got to go 3.10, 3.11. They should drop the extra point because that's what's freaking it up for them. If they just said 3.9, 3.10, you'd have been like, oh, 3.9 with 3.10. But because they got 3.10.1, that's triggering everybody. Everybody's triggered by that.
No, what it is, mate, it's you don't have, unless you're going through an appendix of a book, yeah? And chapter 3 has 10, 11, 20 different chapters within it, right? So points of discussion. Yeah. That is appendicized. That is correctly naming scheming, and that is correctly applying that mathematical explanation to an appendicized format. Yeah, that's where it is suitable. When we are talking about game patches, we are talking about a revision of firmware. We are talking about oh God, just think of something. Mark II, Mark III, right?
I mean, you're right.
And 98% of the world understands that because that's what they have been taught since kindergarten. Now we have 2% of the world's population in the dev world screaming out, no, you're all wrong and we're right. Come on, mate. That's arrogance and just typical techie asshole behaviour by tech people. Now, I'm an asshole. I'm definitely a tech person, right? But that's the thing, mate. At the end of the day, you can't change the world to suit you from your bubble. You need to learn some intersocial social skills to understand that you need to see as technicians, like myself, outside of us on the micro level and look at how the macro audience is going to receive the information. And that's something that no techie ever does. Right? Pop your bubble. Get out of your comfort zone and start living in the real world with 98% of the world's population that don't understand our lingo, our talk, our jargon. Okay? I had someone said, you need to learn this. And I said, mate, I made a joke of it, right? In the most recent video with him about it. Oh, this is called head in the clouds, delusional behaviour. No, actually, just kidding. This. And I showed him the curriculum. You know why? Oh, because I'm a college teacher. Hello? Not at the moment because we're in lockdown. But semantic versioning, This is in relation to API compatibility as well as revisionism on the changes to the API or the changes to the patch in relation to the compatibility with the API. This is very specific. Obviously, it's a sub-unit of assessment, and it covers major, minor, and patch formatting and extensions, obviously, that be compatible or non-compatible with the actual API at the time, whichever API you're using. Vulkan, DirectX 11, DirectX 12, DirectX 10 back in the day. No DirectX 9 because we're not going to go how much of a cluster flip that was. Bug fixes not affecting the API increment the patch version. Backwards compatible API additions change increment the minor version, and backwards incompatible API changes increment the major version. 3.10 does not work. It is 4.0. Otherwise, you do 3.9.1 to show the hotfix compatibility to correct backwards incompatibility with the current API that exists.
Well, they didn't go 3.9.1 because they're gonna run out before they reach. They're gonna run out of patch numbers before they reach 4.0. They're gonna go 3.9.9, and that's gonna come on quick, and then they're gonna be freaking screwed because now they're at 3.9.9, and then they're gonna go 3.9.9.1, and CTT is gonna be super triggered by that. Everybody is.
Everybody, not just me, mate. And it's going to get to a point where it's become so convoluted that nobody knows which way is up. And look, it's here. It's here.
But that's my argument, though, dude. For instance, 1.9, 1.10, 1.11, that's saying that I'm correct. That's saying that format is correct. That's what that just said.
Yes,
right there on the screen.
But that's what I'm saying. In reality, outside of the tech world, this numbering system is only allowed to be used in appendicized format. It's not allowed to be used in accounting. It's not allowed to be used in most workplace applications unless it's used in an appendicized format. I've never seen any use of semanticized numbering schemes in my life, unless if you're an architect, you probably would see that quite a bit. Or if you are binding folders, you would see this in a lot of appendicized formats. But you don't see this as a world standard for numbering systems at all. This is a very industry-specific, internalized mathematical numbering system, which should have been simplified for the mass majority audience. That's what I'm saying, mate, is they should have kept it simple, stupid for us, or for the greater audience, so they could understand what's going on. 9.10 doesn't make sense. 9.9, yes, because it's not a full whole number. Then it becomes 9.10, 9.11, 9.12. Everyone's going, well, you're just hotfixing shit, so just stop saying stuff and just roll out the hotfixes and call them the same thing. Or I don't know, step into the next whole number. 4. Just suck it up, guys. Accept you can't get everything you want now in the 3 series of patches. Fucking roll out 4. We don't give a shit about your numbering system and having, a whole freaking system called number 4. We don't give a shit. Just roll it out in the numbering system as it works. And if you're at 4 now, well, it shows you're 4.5 years behind.
Okay, so here's what has CTT so upset. So no other game, he's right. No other game has done this. No other game has said 1.1, 1.2, and then go on 1.10, 1.11. No other game does that. They go 3.9, 4.0. So, but here's the whole thing, dude. Star Citizen is just the next level. It's the higher level of being and higher level of gaming.
Right.
All right, man. I don't have nothing else to say. I'm just joking around. I'm just joking around.
The higher level of delusional nut jobs. Sorry.
Yeah, we can go ahead and end it if you want to end it. Right, but, go ahead.
So let's head back to the newsroom, guys.
Okay.
So, guys, that's the first of our new debate series. We have done quid pro quo in past, but now this is going to be a debate series we bring up once in a while, especially when it comes down to conjecture in relation to stupid stuff like this that CIG is doing. And I think it needs to be discussed. I think people need to get a bit angry, and I think the naysayers in our audience really need to maybe take a step back and look outside of themselves and how they feel, and think about how the mass majority, the macro audience, thinks about this, not just you. Because this, I think, is the biggest problem we've got in Star Citizen, especially the community. It's not always about you, it's about what's beneficial for the macro audience. Right, the micro audience, the Skitians, the cultists, now the trolls these days, instead of all of those others, because we got them shut down. Most of you trolls are young kids. You do not have any clue of what you're talking about. Do understand that the new YouTube rules this year and the algorithm this year are very, very, very tough. You will lose your account. So if you're going to muck around in our comments section, well, you're going to probably get reported and you're going to probably lose your account, guys, for real. I've counted 29 accounts we've shut down on this channel so far this year. 29, guys. And it's all from your own behaviour. All I've done is just silently report most of them. I've been respectful to a few people of recent to say you've been given a warning and this is your final warning and then reported. But that's the thing. We're giving you guys a bit of rope to work with on the channel, but this is a safe place for people to come, converse, discuss, debate, and be critiquing and have heated discussions with, respectfully, professionally, ethically, politely. You don't have to name call and stuff like that. And if you say to me, you should take your own medicine and look at how hypocritical you're being, how about you do that first? You be disrespectful to me, I will eat you alive. I'll be disrespectful to you, there's going to be a very, very good reason for it. A bloody good reason for it. I'm a really nice person usually, but you flick my fuckwit switch and then it's on, alright? Don't muck around on this channel. We are here to create a professional safe space for professional people to discuss this in a professional way. If you're not that target audience, please do not watch our videos in future. ILW, over to you.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and leave what he said at the beginning of his little closing argument here, the closing thoughts, just alone, and I'm going to come on what he just said at the end. Okay, so as I came onto a partner on the channel, my first ever comment to his on one of his videos was, "I disagree," and the next 10 comments after that was, "I disagree, I disagree, I disagree." So here's how it works with me and CTT. So we both see the same evidence. We look at the same thing. He looks at the LinkedIn profile. He sees a guy that's been a concept artist for 3 years. I looked at the same document, and I see a guy that's worked for CIG for 3 years and who's also a concept artist. He sees this. I see that. We're looking at the same evidence, seeing two different things. Okay, me and him don't always agree. Everybody's like, CTT, they're always talking to him. Hey, there's another person here who doesn't always disagree with him, or who doesn't always agree or disagree with him. We're not always in agreement. Most of the time, we're not in agreement. There are some things that we are in agreement, like, hey, it's going to take 10 years. We just added up the numbers of times. There it is. There's no evidence that it isn't. We're actually going to have another guy. We're going to be talking to him real soon, maybe coming up real quick, of a guy that's saying it's not going to take 10 years. But guess what? If you come in professional, he went in the comments and debunked thing by thing. We're not removing his comment. We welcome that. Come in here with real debate. Debunk the video point by point. And we'll have you in the next video, and you can speak for yourself. You don't even have to be in the comment. You can refute both of us. I came onto this partner channel as debating. I came into another channel debating. I went into another channel's Discord, another Australian's Discord, and I was banned within like the first 30 minutes. So I debate with CTT, I become a partner channel. I debate with somebody else, I get banned within like 30 minutes, and I'm permanently banned from the channel. And the guys are wrong, and the people on that shares the guy's channel with him, he knows who he is. They say that he's wrong. But because everybody's so freaking cliquey, the guy that was in there with me, who's also on the channel, would say, when the other guy came back in, I was like, dude, you know that I'm right. Tell him what you just told me. And he's like, oh, I don't want to get in the middle of it.
Right.
Grow some balls, dude.
Right.
Grow some real balls.
Yeah.
CTT, I have balls. he has balls, and we have balls enough to take educated debate and to listen to you and to not cuss you, not be hostile to you, welcome you and say, all right, share your viewpoint. That's what it's always been. That's what this channel is. That's what this channel became when I became a partner on it. And then it became open discussion, open debate, really, really push for that. We've all went from the next level from where we started, freaking looking across from each other in a freaking space station, to the newsroom, to CTT. He's done all that. I've helped him with a few things, and we've grown together. Come on board. Let's grow together. If there's nothing else to say, that's all I have to say.
Yeah, no, fantastic rebuttal and wrap up, mate. That's awesome. And guys, that's the thing. This box here, the CT, this is reserved for guests. Yeah, this exists for a reason, not just because we want to show off the channel branding. We're saying here's an empty slot. Jump in it. Hop on mic, hop on camera, and have a chat with us. For any of our other rooms, guys, we've got enough scenes to add people and everything. It's not a problem for us. We know what we're doing, okay? Come on board. Have your say. If it is contradictory to everything that we say, great. Talk to the audience from your perspective. Get your audience members that follow your thought process, bring them into conversation. And we are looking, hopefully, fingers crossed, things go really well with this person coming on. Hopefully, we will have him on for more episodes more often. And if things go quite well, we're going to have an Aussie, an American, and a Brit all on the same channel at the same time on a regular basis. That's going to be super exciting because you've got the fiery Brit, you got the fiery American, you certainly got the fiery Aussie. It's going to be hectic fun. So let's see how it goes when we get him on. Hopefully we work well together. We've got that chemistry like ILW and I do, and he fits in the slot. And we've got that third perspective, that final third perspective where we cover all of the conversation angles from a three-dimensional aspect in a sphere of discussion, where nobody in the audience can then start to pull crap because all of your concerns are being covered from every side of the discussion simultaneously. All right, guys. Anyway, that's me. I'm CTT.
And I'm Image Lead the Way.
And as per usual and as per always, peace out. Cheers.
Peace out, guys.